Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG Chess Grandmasters. My name is John Bain, joined here by Jeff the Master Robinson.
Yes, it was a fantastic evening. We've had some really good matches so
Indeed.
far.
We've managed to get through a single game in the last 4 hours.
It's lucky. Usually it takes a couple of weeks.
It does. It really, really does. It was a bit of speed chess going on right there. Surprising, really, to see that in this particular.
Not often you see that. Not at all.
It's very true. It's been very
So,
intriguing.
like, we could...
We need to stop
You
that.
would beat me. I would start crackling up, but we could... crackling, actually. Giggling is what I meant to say. We could do that for a while. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, I have been told that the previous game, they're going to do their best job. And as Total Biscuit can tell you, it's not easy to upload a video that size. But they're going to try to make it available to you guys. Because if you missed that, you need to go back and watch it. You just have to. It needs to be on the forums. You
basically have nothing better to do with your life. So just do it.
Actually, watch the series, because game number 1, maybe you skip it. Game number 1, maybe you don't watch that one so much.
Game 2 was pretty good.
Game 2
I enjoyed that very much. That was a good game on Whirlwind. And then we had that.
Yeah.
Let's just check if these guys are ready. I'm surprised not to see one of them asleep in their seat, but they look pretty alert, pretty much ready to rock and or roll, whichever they would prefer. We don't mind.
Amazing.
We're cool with either.
Absolutely amazing.
All
and
right.
At this point in time, if we had one of those anticlimactic endings, I wouldn't even mind, because they actually just played their hearts out in that game prior. I'm hoping this legend continues. If Goswser can ride that momentum. He got a standing ovation, ladies and gentlemen. A big shout out, by the way, to the Dallas audience. We could hear it over here, and we're a good 60 yards, 50 yards away, something like that. I mean, people stood up and cheered for this kid. He is surrounded by a mass of people, and they want more Goswser versus Bomber.
They do. They very much do. The StarCraft crowd currently is standing room only at the main stage and is extending out to the second stage. It's that huge. In fact, like, every game here is doing wonderfully well. Call of Duty has a huge audience. League of Legends has a huge audience. There's a great goddamn day for people that like watching video games on the internet.
They always come back to Dallas. There's a reason for that. Dallas supports, and I mean, you're right too on the internet as well. You guys have been awesome. Sundance actually said we broke records on Friday. Today, I can't imagine being a giant drop-off. Usually Saturday's the money spot.
Saturday's the bigger day, yeah, absolutely.
So, congrats to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've been absolutely having a blast. We were reading the Twitter comments. You guys were enjoying it alongside us. Please know, first and foremost, John and I are fans and lovers of this game, and sometimes we lose our poop when we... I'm sorry. I
don't
lost
believe
it a few times,
there was a casting pair in the world that could have kept a straight face throughout that match, and I think it's unfair to suggest otherwise. Okay, folks, let's do it. It's Star Station. It's a new map. Will the same nonsense happen? We will find out. This guy down to the southeast position, who is currently building himself a barracks at an appropriate time, he is in the red trunks playing Terran. He is Startail Bomber. And he's up against his opponent, who put on the most ridiculous display of endurance I personally have ever seen, flat out refusing to give in under any circumstances, and eventually managing to take his opponent down in an insane game. It is, of course, in the blue trunks, playing Zerg, Millennium's Goswser.
Speaking of Millennium, shout out to them. You guys have got to be proud. They pulled him in from America. Very rarely does a European team recruit an American. They shipped him over to their training house, and they're reaping the reward. He's playing an amazing match against Bomber in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and just, well, over 100,000 people, I guess is a better way to describe that. But I am proud because I know Goswser just after that play, and I know that he should be proud of his performance too, but it's not over yet. It's 2-1 in favor of Bomber.
Yep.
Bomber 1 rack's expanding, so as Total Biscuit said, building the barracks in the appropriate place, which means we will not, at least at this time, see a cheese.
Nope, we will not.
Guaranteed a couple more minutes at least of these two fine young fellas. And on the flip side, Goswser, who is apt to mix in some cheese, is going for his own gasless expand, actually. In fact, it's worth noting he did a spawning pool then hatchery, not hatch first, so he was worried that this would conclude with like an 8-8.
Yeah, certainly, and that's a totally logical thing to do. If you're a map up, especially haven't just played a game that long, do you really want to play another game that long?
Yeah.
An 8-8-8 would have been a good option there, or some kind of other cheese proxy. We could see proxy 11-11 break out again, but of course we didn't. And we saw pretty much the most normal opening you could possibly get when you want to be focused on a longer macro game. And as a result, as you said, we're going to have a reasonably lengthy game, one would think. Now, it's interesting to delve into the psychology of these two players, because after a game like that, is your mindset, I can totally go toe-to-toe with this guy, so I don't need to do anything fancy, anything out of the ordinary. So that's why you have these kind of openings.
I feel like Game 2 and 3 have shown to Goswser that he belongs in this match with Bomber.
Yeah.
I think Game number 2 is robbed of him because of the glory and excellence that is Bomber making that decision to do something that nobody else knew about.
Yep.
Except for that one guy that right now is yelling at me. And then Game number 3, Goswser was ahead. Bomber started to become Bomber, where he started kind of coming back through it. Again, amazing play, including nuking his own army. So that is worth noting,
That is Bomber, though. You can't divide that part of Bomber from the rest of Bomber. You wouldn't be Bomber without that.
No. And I bet Goswser didn't know about that, by the way.
Probably not.
I bet when he hears that actually Bomber kind of nuked himself a little bit there, that'd be kind of a little funny for him. But he, to your point, Total Biscuit, he knows. He knows he can compete with Bomber, so he doesn't have to do anything too crazy. You know what? I wouldn't see it any other way than just, again, like a Roach Baneling opening. That's Goswser's kind of MO. That's what he does. But I don't think he has to go for a bust. He can, not an all-in anyways. He can go for the bust, but still have an economy behind it.
You see what's interesting here for me is that Bomber has gone 4 racks before any tech whatsoever. So, I mean, this almost seems to me like he expects Roach Baneling to come in his direction. He wants a lot of meat, and then he wants to be able to counterattack. What do you think?
I think this is offensive. I think he's looking to make a lot of Marines complete the faster upgrade that is Combat Shield versus Stim, and then to do what he has done in the past, and that's to make more Marines than you thought possible into attack. But you were, to be honest, I'd agree with what you were starting to guess at, which is that you faced Roach Ling every time. Combat Shield Marines aggressively doesn't really make sense, so it would make sense that you'd go 4-axe defensively, but to
even
me,
then,
that's a weird build. That's,
because
that's
you don't have
choice.
tanks, do you? So you can't really target fire the Banelings down, and you just don't have that AoE at the back. So
I think he's hoping to catch a different build. I mean, there's the 3rd CC, so it's obviously not an all-in. He doesn't grab all his SPs or anything like that, but he will attack. This is not defensive. Here he goes. Combat Shield will finish by the time he gets there. There's already 5-6 Roaches out. Speedlings, they do have speed, do they not?
No, he just started it.
Okay,
That
that's
could,
a bit of a problem.
Yeah, that could be a bit of a mess. There's no Baneling Nest down right here with only 5 Roaches as well, and he's not going to have any warning of this until it hits the
no
creep.
Scouting. He did not. He didn't have the tower.
No.
This is tragic. If he had the tower and saw these coming out, he's making units right now, and I think he might be okay. But as it is, he's making 5 drones on top of the 5 Roaches.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. If he makes another round of drones, he very well could be dead here. There's a lot of Marines. 26 Marines on the field. The Queen spots it and is going to get away thanks to the benefit of there not being stim. And there's the scan. He wants to push that creep back. It's going to give him some time. There's another drone being built there. More Roaches coming out. There could be enough Roaches to take this down, but it's just a lot of Marines.
It's a lot of Marines. They're going to kill. I mean, they're going to kill a lot. They're going to trade. They're going to trade is what's
and that's okay.
happening.
He's expanding behind it. He has no intention of reinforcing this. Nice little concave right here.
Good concave. Going for the Queen now, stepping forward. Queen's getting pulled back. Good choice.
Comes in for the flank right here.
I mean, you know what? Goswser handled this about... I was going to say he handled this about as well as he could, but then he lost his 2 Queens. If he pulls those back, I think he did great.
Yeah, totally. And he goes in there and loses a few Lings here and there, but he cleans that up. But yeah, losing the 2 Queens was a great strike, I feel, for Bomber there. You might think, oh, but he committed 26 Marines. He actually didn't. That was about half of the Marines he actually had. He just poked forward there. Goswser does have a significant supply advantage right now. Admittedly, that is eaten up in a lot of Roaches. And he's not really in that much of a position to counterattack, especially not with the Baneling Nest. He's not going to try. He's building drones. He's just going to replace that, get his Queens back up, go. And he's going double Evolution Chamber, which is interesting because that may indicate that we're going to see more of a melee-focused build. Yes, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
He's done that every game so far. He really likes this. He'll add a Baneling Nest. Oh, as I said, it's actually already up.
Yep.
As he goes lair. I mean, that's just what he does. He likes Ling, Baneling, Roach. We saw the... You know, actually, it's worth noting. I forgot because it happened an hour and 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
That last game was when he lost his 3rd and went Spire Infestation Pit at the same time. And I, in particular, was like, all right, he can't do this. He did it. So
yeah, he popped out a couple of Corruptors, which actually ended up being an exceptional option against those Medivacs. And they were just a great unit to have in general because they don't die very easily, and they're pretty much just dedicated to shooting at Medivacs.
Yes.
And they did a fantastic job of doing their job. Baneling Nest coming down here. The melee upgrades could lead potentially into Ultralisk at the end, but who knows with Goswser right now. As you said, he loves to use a lot of Roaches as well, so who knows how much... Yeah. Who knows how much he'll dedicate to this?
Yeah. There's that tank on the high ground I had talked about in game number 2 that we're finally seeing in game number 3 here. A pretty quick 3rd from Bomber. Bomber in the past was a little bit hesitant to drop the orbital that he's had each time just because he was aware of the fact that Goswser does like to go for those kind of Roach Baneling busts.
Yeah.
But here, knowing the damage that he put in on Goswser, he can actually safely do that. Goswser's going to take his own 4th at the same time as the 3rd. Of course, the 3rd getting saturated before the 4th completes. So that's the beginning of a slight quote-unquote advantage for our Terran player. I do like seeing this, though, Total Biscuit. We have Spine Crawlers going down. Your Mind Meld with the Goswser is complete. And
I learned some things I did not want to learn, man.
There you go.
They're saying everyone's got secrets and they should stay that way.
A young adult male living in a dormitory-like living experience probably does have secrets that other people should know about.
Yep. Just as to be appropriate in this series, my computer is currently suffering lag and may get kicked out at some point.
Okay.
That's okay. We've got another screen I can look at. It's all good.
Scoot over closer to me. No big deal.
I'm all right with that.
Do that date scenario we talked about at Goswser Restaurant. One medevac moving out, which is a little bit unique in the sense that usually Bomber... Okay, there's the second one. I was just going to say, it's a little bit weird. Bomber doing one thing at a time doesn't make sense. He's got... He just doesn't do that. 2-2 melee upgrades on the way, and Ling's there looking to intercept. And drop goes down at the top of the third here. Going to just kind of harry that gas, but that's nice. Again, it's not necessarily the direct damage. It's more just kind of the taxation of actions that you're doing. And sorry, 1 sec, Scott's being awfully wordy there as a producer.
That's understandable, yeah. We're currently having some lag issues on one of our observing machines. It doesn't seem to be affecting the game right now, but I may need to bail on it one way or the other. I guess this is what actually ends up happening when you end up in a situation where a game goes on for so long that it literally melts CPUs. That's entirely possible right there. There's another drop coming in right there, as you can very clearly see, and that's going to be static defense. Static defense.
Pretty good.
It's apparently a pretty good thing.
Total Biscuit, when's your strategy guide coming out, man? Your YouTube series on how to tell these pro gamers to play Zerg.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. It's all I'm saying, you know, it currently contains two things: build static defense and build 6 spawning pools.
Yeah, well, I think you're at least half right. Which is pretty good. I mean,
just more than I am the rest of the time. Oh, here it comes.
It's 3. Yeah,
there it is.
Not that close, actually.
Yeah.
But
okay, so don't rely so much on the static defense. Maybe send the Lings into. Drops coming in left, right, and center right here from Bomber. There's a nice connection there with the bathing nest to clean out most of those Marines and to finish off there with the Roaches here as well.
Ghosties are doing okay. Losing that 4th does hurt, and he lost that 4th because while he did have stack defense there, he was not quite in position, and that's gonna slow him down a little bit. And the reason we bring that up is because Bomber he's just a macro monster. If you slow down in your macro, you're probably in trouble. I mean, these are 2-2 Marines with a handful of tanks. The only thing really lacking here is that there's no medevacs really, because he's dropping all over the place.
And here come those signature corruptors out, actually wandering right past the medevac. I guess they'll find out about it eventually.
Wow, these are friendly corruptors.
It's like, welcome to our little party right here.
Yeah, that's the worst place to be right now.
Yeah, funny enough, no, it's not getting away. But that didn't even require a fungal. It just happens to be the most unlucky rally point you've ever seen for corruptors right there. And Push is coming on the creep right now. Bomber's never cared about moving on the creep. He's totally fine with that. Scan goes down. We are seeing Ultra Cavern and Great Aspire on the way, as well as Adrenal Glands. Goswser loves these tech switches. He's very much into that kind of thing.
Corruptors need to get realigned with those medevacs. They speed past. There are Lings there to intercept, but a huge fight in the middle of the map. Fungal's coating those Marines. It's a war of attrition to a certain extent. A lot of that bio did get weathered down. There's no medevacs here to really alleviate from the pain of those Fungals, but there's enough tanks.
That's a nasty position to drop in as well. Those Lings are actually going to die as they come past here. You can kill the medevac, though, with the Corruptors and take some damage to his worker line. Having to pull off another one here, though, and that's a horrible position to engage in because he's just so inefficient. He has to spend a lot of Banelings to make that happen.
Beautiful choice, though, by Goswser to sack that 4th. He says, you know what? Congratulations, your positioning is so strong. I back away. He's got another hatch finishing. He can go ahead and saturate that immediately. And if he can clamp down this army, and the reinforcements actually making its way to the middle of the map, he's going to come out. The tanks were on siege for a moment, but they do end up sieging here. But they're actually doing some friendly fire. Goswser does not like his positioning. He's mostly a squishy army. Yeah,
very much so. And he's taking a lot of damage to those tanks as a direct result of that. And a lot of scans going down to make sure the Bomber has that positional information. Goswser currently behind in supply. Upgrades are looking pretty good for Goswser, but he's not able to really build that big endgame army he was looking for because he's currently having to deal with what's being thrown at him right now. Great decision by Bomber not to siege there and just destroying the infested Terrans before they even get deployed. This is a good position for Bomber.
His Marines are perma-yellow because there's just not enough medevacs here, but screw that. We're going to talk about this. Lings, Banelings moving forward. The Fungal's not coming out just yet. The tanks in the background doing a great job of thinning out that attack force. The Brewlords are desperately needed. They do pop out just now. Medevac count at 2 over here, one of which at 8 health.
Yeah, it's going to be a shot in a minute.
Units over here at the 4th base. Goswser's about to be on 3 bases, which is not a place he wants to be at.
Not
Tank
really.
line compromised, but there's nothing here to punish that.
Oh, yeah. Banelings connect, but of course that's a pretty inefficient trade. Another base is going to go down right here. Goswser is bleeding badly. Bomber on 191 supply versus 143. Engagement comes in. Banelings connect. More medevacs shot down here. Again, loving the use of the Corruptors here by Goswser, but the amount of economic damage he's taking is pretty punishing right now.
It is, and now the Corruptor's getting targeted down as well. Good transfusion there at the last second. All the medevacs have died, as you said. Broodlords and
Broodlords in play,
Zerglings combining nicely over there. Now, Forgottenlings over the tower have spotted a 4th base.
Nice.
I gotta say, Goswser needs to get on his horse. He has to get over there right now. If this turns into a planetary and Bomber starts dropping mules on that, it ain't going to be pretty. Vikings being out of the mix. Ultras as well. Ultras armor upgrade about to complete, so they're going to be pretty beefy. It's just 2-2, though. 3-3 on those EVA chambers. Forgotten because, again, he's been trying to survive this whole time.
I like the fact, at least for Goswser, that there's a huge amount of Vikings coming out, whereas Ultras are on the way. He built both those together so he can make that transition. There are really not all that many. Are there any Marauders on the field right now?
No, there's
Don't
none.
believe so.
He's not making any. And the Ultras by himself, not that big of a deal, but with Fungal, it is a 1-2 punch that will knock you the heck out.
Yes, it will. Heck, of course, being Portuguese for best of luck. I hope you like the chicken.
I'm learning Portuguese during this commentary, and I'm loving that.
This is an educational broadcast.
Army in the middle of the map, again, anchored by 6 Infestors. Ultras being added to the mix. It's about 4 or 5 of them now at this point in time. The reenactment of this 4th base, which, again, is the weirdest way to say that possible, but I wouldn't expect anything otherwise. Medevac moving over to the 3rd base. One of the medevacs is actually at 8 health. A weird choice to drop with that, but it's the positioning that's so strong right now.
Oh, he's not targeting fire down the right medevac. That's unfortunate. He could have actually nailed that. He's been stretched all over the place. Fungal grabs a lot of these Vikings. Ultralisk says, I'm here to provide moral support. I'm not going to shoot you. And the Greater Spire taking some fire here as well, trying to respond to that. Greater Spire goes down, limiting those tech choices significantly. It's going to take a long time to get that up and running again. Single Corruptor comes in to do its job, but a little too late. Yet more damage being done. Goswser, however, his supply is looking pretty healthy.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about this planetary. We've seen, in fact, if you go back to Flash Bly Game 4, that planetary, that big strip mining base was what basically killed Bly, the inability to assault it. Does he have the units he needs to take that out?
You know, if you asked me a while ago, I would say surely yes, but now Marauders are making their way out here 2 at a time. Still not a huge percentage of the production, but enough so that they're there. Drop is loaded up here, but it's actually going to be intercepted. This could be a really big moment. Both those medevacs fully loaded. Don't run alongside it. Actually kill it. Thank you. There it is. Corruptor. Well, I almost said Corruptors.
Killing
then I
it.
correctly said Corruptor.
There we go. They're going down. Eventually going down.
Dropping the natural. That one is going to get slammed down, though.
Yep.
And there are enough stuff in place to stop that from doing anything. Goswser is so patient, by the way. I really felt like there should be some sense of urgency about attacking that 4th, but he doesn't feel it. He's sitting on equal base and says, I'm okay with that for right now.
Yeah, he's got a good army. He's starting to build up those resources. He wants, of course, to keep those mineral lines safe so he can continue to build up that bank. The bank was crucial for him winning the last game.
Yeah.
If you got 5,000-6,000 minerals, then you can afford to make these kind of trades. And I'm still not overly happy about the composition of the army here, because, as you said, there are Marauders coming in, but there are still quite a few Vikings in the air, which is not going to be helpful really at all. It'll shoot at the Corruptors, but that's really about it. So, right. 9 Vikings and 1 Vikings. Corruptor or whatever. So that's actually pretty good here for
Can't let this 5th go down.
No, that's a mega mining base. That's a gigantic international corporation out to exploit the workforce. We can't have that happen. Ultralisk are now moving into play as well. Many drops are going to go on left and right here. Looking for that interception, grabs that. So that might die, it might not, we'll see. And Ultralisk now making its way and then having an all-you-can-eat buffet.
What is he doing? Is it a trap, I guess? Is he saying,
it's
hey, look, it's just like 3 Ultralisks randomly?
Yeah, come get him. Come get the Ultralisks and run right into my Broodlords and Infestors. But the Infestors are the other side of the map right now and actually taking fire from that single Marine. This is all over the place right now. The engagement continuing to happen down to the bottom here.
I don't know. Goswser's kind of falling apart right now. He loses that base despite himself. He actually lost. No, he did not lose his Infestors, but they're being forgotten for the time being. This base is going to be attacked here. Bomber's army is weaker, but there's a giant load up. Where did it go? Maybe it didn't go anywhere, actually. Maybe it just came back. It's kind of sitting there. This base will get overran. They're going to need some aid.
Oh, here they come once again. Seeker missiles have been deployed on, well, 3 Seeker missiles for 2 Banelings. Great trade there for Goswser. He doesn't care about that. Bomber taking some fire here as well. The Vikings now moving in to clean up the remaining Broodlords. That ground army will be crushed because there really isn't much of it to speak of right now. But he does have reserves at the back with a lot of medevacs.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, they're about to hit equal supply, and unfortunately for Goswser, it's not looking at a 3K bank. He is making 5 Ultra 6 Corruptors, so that's where a lot of his money did go, but he's still on 4 bases, just now finishing a 5th. This drop being so, I mean, Bomber's drops. I had no idea he was this good about it. I mean, I've heard the stereotype. He's also got 25 drones on 1 mineral patch. He needs to fix that, but Bomber did lose a majority of his army there. Of course, as I say that, he's
built.
He's actually max, so
yeah.
I just need to shut up. That's
we'll not go for Bomber's macro at this point. I think of all the things we can criticize Bomber on, macro is definitely not one of those things. Big drop being loaded up here as well. Goswser bleeding pretty badly. This lack of air control is going to hurt him as well. His drop's going to be way more effective. Nice pre-spread Marines do way more than they should have. Really, he might even no, he's not going to lose that ultra. He almost did though. That could have been messy. And Ultras being used to kind of respond to drops is not the worst thing in the world. These Lings, they've actually been sitting there the entire time. They had a golden opportunity, about 10 minutes ago to actually ravage that mineral line.
Quite literally 10 minutes ago. Yeah, these Lings by the tower. It's weird.
You sometimes forget units.
I
That's why they put a button in the game that selects all of them. But I guess pros aren't using that right now.
No, it seems like it's a cheating button.
That's a pretty terrible button.
Army's moving over here, and it's a surprisingly small army. It's because there's drops going on everywhere.
Oh, the Corruptor Air Force is back. Can he shut that down before it drops?
Yes.
Oh, the second one's going to get shut down as well. Corruptor's good units, says Goswser.
Yeah,
and he's right.
Good.
He is shutting these drops down hard. That's a lot of units wasted there by Bomber.
Bomber's army is just everywhere, though. He's going to kill that base attempt down there. There's a double drop in the main. There's even a drop in an empty hatch, which was Goswser's 3rd. That's not the biggest of deals, but inside the main, the Hive's looking to go down. There's no way to save that.
Yeah, he'll kill the medevac, certainly.
At least make it a trade, I guess.
Not.
Yeah, it does go down. Medevacs even get away with speed.
That's embarrassing. There's another one going down as well. Obviously, that was gas mining, which is kind of critical at this stage. And this is not looking great for Goswser. He is kind of being picked apart here, and he hasn't really been able to harass at all. He's been on the receiving end of it, and that has meant that Bomber can continue to mine. His macro is rolling. He's back to max once again.
6 Ravens again. Again, Ravens are pretty much guaranteed damage. It's just a matter of how much you're going to take. And if you're on a low econ like this, guaranteed damage is a scary concept. Corruptor's looking around for that drop. They do find the one on the left side, so that's kind of nice. Drop on the right side does pick off a gas, but that's about it. And Bomber's moving in towards the middle of the map again. The Infestor's getting targeted down by the missiles. Oh! And just 2 of them go down. Not not quite as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, it was still messy. I don't think Goswser can really afford to keep replacing those units, and more to the point, get the energy back.
Right. 5th base does go down for Bomber, by the way, in the background, too. That's what makes it so amazing, is he's dropping all the time, but still managing his economy in a world-class level. I mean, that's what makes him Bomber. We're going to have a big engagement over here, perhaps the last one of Goswser's tournament. He's going to have to funnel into this, and that's going to be so hard. There's so many tanks here. Meanwhile, a double drop in the main, as per usual.
Yeah, needless to say. Bombers just gets bored if he's fighting in one place. He wants to fight 3, possibly 4. Infestors pop out. Fungal is put in place, but the Infestors are also killed in trade for that. In comes the flank from the back here, and that should be a crushing maneuver, certainly for Bomber's army, but he does have some more waiting behind there. Engagement comes in. Here come the Seeker missiles. Connect with a few things, not as great as they could be. PDD put down, though. That's giving the Vikings superior.
This should be it, ladies and gentlemen. Goswser
I think so.
Been exhausted.
He's below 100 supply now. Bomber is looking really good here to take this series finally after about 6 hours of constant engagements. And more Seeker missiles hammer home, take down the remaining Infestors, and Goswser now. Oh, he fought so hard, he got so far, but unfortunately in the end it didn't even matter. And Bomber was able to roll him over in Game 4, and there is the GG, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, the series ends, and Bomber takes possibly the most hard-fought win we've seen so far in the tournament.
And in the books, that's a 3-1, but ladies and gentlemen, do not let that score fool you. This was a grueling match. That first one was Goswser getting a dose of reality. Game 2 and 3, and now 4 were hard-fought, close matches. Of course, none closer than the one before this, where Goswser does get the win at the end. But what a show they put on, and I'm telling you, this is a part of the masterpiece that is HOTS. It's just so much more exciting. It's just amazing. Tip of the hat to Blizzard, who is obviously a sponsor of this tournament. They've done just an amazing job making a game that rewards higher level of play and is more exciting for the audience to watch, and you couldn't ask for a better thing.
Yeah, it's flat out a better game. You just didn't see games like this in Wings of Liberty, certainly not in the last 6 months. But I say that was a series for the ages. No one's going to be forgetting that anytime soon. And Bomber, however, advances once again, and a chance of a foreigner being able to advance against a Korean has once again been shut down.
Yeah, and I think Stefano's playing last right now. I don't know the score. It was 1-0 for last, so 2-0 last now we're hearing. So it's going down to Thorzane and last, or Stefano. Well, that looks good for Stefano.
Yeah, Red is still in the
and
tournament.
Red Flash.
Red actually one of the only foreigners to play another foreigner in this particular bracket, which is what made things kind of interesting there. Red, of course, will be facing Flash, as you mentioned, which is most likely going to be an incredible match, one way or the other. And Flash showing some weaknesses, funnily enough, in his play against Bly there that could be exploited.
He bled.
He did. He very much did. He could have bled more than once. He could have lost that series. It could have happened. But at the end of the day, his experience prevails. Will it keep him in the tournament? Maybe, maybe not. Unfortunately for Goswser user, his chance to prove himself has been taken away from him. Regardless, I think he's given us a series that people will not be forgetting anytime soon. And he has proven his point. He is no flash in the pan. He is no online-only Zerg player, and he's certainly no patch Zerg. He played a phenomenal set of games, and his endurance, as well as his multitasking and strategy, was exceptional. I look forward to seeing him in future tournaments. We'll be seeing Bomber in the round of 16. And yet another Korean Terran advances, perhaps, the era once again, although Protoss also looking strong in this tournament.
Yes, and I mean, one thing to note, too, is we're giving so much props to Goswser because he survived as well as he did against Bomber. And let's take a moment to just realize what that means. Bomber, in every one of the games, was dropping at a level that we just don't see anywhere else. He was managing his economy behind that. He was attacking in all different directions. Like we talked about during the games. I just don't want people to be like, don't talk too much about Goswser. Because, like, listen, there's not enough that could be said about Bomber. That was the most high-octane TVZ I've seen in a long time, and it was gorgeous. It was just amazing
it
play.
really was. It was a pleasure to watch for the most part. A couple of places here and there. It's like
Four Corruptors killing a barracks did get me a little bit on the
Yeah, Queen's just trying to chase down off creep speed medevacs.
Turn back.
Please, you know, we'll get you an experience. Damn it. Well, eventually. God, one of us was dying of old age there. I'm not sure which. Yeah. Oh, man. So that was the series. That happened. That was StarCraft. That was Heart of the Swarm. This was the round of 32. And we see Bomber advancing. On this stream next, it will, I believe, be Husky and DJ Woo.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me.
I believe that was the casting combo that should be coming up next. And you will be seeing Thorzane going up against Killer, which actually is going to be one of the only two foreigner engagements in the round of 32. So we will see a foreigner advance regardless as a result on the other side of the bracket.
All right. Yeah. We did it. We did it, guys.
Yeah. That's just the reality of the situation. I think here's my theory on it, and you can feel free to shoot it down whenever you like, is that we're currently in a situation where no one knows how to play HOTS, so the guys with the best mechanics are winning. Just a theory.
Clearly, that is what is playing out here. It's
apparently.
No, this has been a tournament on steroids. It's been great competition. In the first rounds, we've seen greater competition on one side, but I'm telling you, round of 16, which is concluding today, by the way. Don't go anywhere. This is all day.
It's a long day, man.
We're going to do round of 32, and then it's going to be some round of 16 action, and we're going to see these guys that brutalized the first round start hitting each other, and that is going to be amazing.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to casting that. We'll get to do that at some point. Jeff, thank you very much. That was our inaugural cast. Couldn't have asked for a better one.
Total control. We did it.
Oh, man. Thank you for watching, guys. You, of course, have been a fantastic audience, but we're not going anywhere. Play more StarCraft action available for you. Red Stream currently with Stefano versus Last. 2-0 in favor of Last right now, looking for yet another Korean breakthrough, and we'll be seeing Thorzane versus Killer right here on Blue Stream next. Don't go anywhere. This is MLG Dallas, and you are watching StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm.